6 gold miners ventured deep into a limestone cave in the dense jungle in search of buried gold. A sudden flash flood struck, leaving 5 of them trapped inside. Subsequently, cave diving experts from 6 countries arrived at the scene one after another. But no one expected that the 5 people trapped underground would turn into 7. This is a true rescue event that took place in a cave in Laos in May 2026. Laos is the only landlocked country in Southeast Asia. In recent years, a gold-seeking trend in caves has emerged in many parts of Laos. Locals believe that along the rock layers eroded by groundwater, they can pick up natural gold nuggets washed out by the water currents. Therefore, a large number of unlicensed gold miners began flocking to the caves. On May 20th, 2026, more than 60 miles northeast of the capital Vientiane of Laos, there was a village called Long Jen. Into an unnamed limestone cave nearby, a group of people carrying rudimentary equipment crawled inside. The cave entrance was a steep and narrow slope, tilting downwards at a 45-degree angle. Going inside revealed an extremely narrow passage, some parts only 24 inches wide, where one had to tilt their body and crawl to squeeze through. There were also flooded spots requiring them to hold their breath and swim across. Venturing deeper, they reached a slanted passage and had to crawl through. Right after was a vertical shaft about 15 feet high, necessitating the use of ropes to rappel down. This cave was later measured by the rescue team to have a total length of about 1,000 feet. At the same time, heavy rain and strong winds swept across the entire mountain outside. Rainwater followed the rock crevices, gathering into rushing torrents that swallowed the cave's passages. Initially, they only heard the sound of dripping water, so they paid no mind and continued moving forward. It was not until muddy water flooded the ground, reaching their ankles and then rising above their knees, that they realized the situation. But when they wanted to turn back and flee, those narrow paths were already submerged in water. Only the last person reacted fast enough and managed to crawl out before the passage was completely engulfed. Seeing that the remaining 5 could not escape, left with no other choice, he had to call the local police for help. Those trapped in the cave knew their retreat was cut off and could only move forward to find higher ground. Fortunately, not long after, they groped their way to a larger space. The 5 people retreated onto an upper rock ledge to wait for rescue. And before they entered, rumor had it that another group of people had gone into this limestone cave and delved even deeper. On the other hand, due to Laos's insufficient professional rescue capabilities, the rescue team had to seek international assistance. Cave diving experts from Thailand, Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia, Australia, and France flew to Laos one after another. Among them was a Finnish man named Mikko Pasi, one of the commanders of this operation. He had previously participated in the Great Tam Luang Cave rescue in Thailand in 2018. But upon arriving at the scene, he discovered 2 entirely different caves. Tam Luang Cave had spacious passages and an internal map, whereas this passage before him was narrow and chaotic. Most fatally, there was no accurate map whatsoever, and no one knew what the internal structure was like. Mikko stated that there were places even he could barely squeeze through. More troublingly, these passages were flooded with muddy torrents, reducing visibility to near zero. Therefore, international rescue forces proposed 3 plans. Plan 1 was to install pumps to drain the stagnant water, allowing the trapped individuals to walk out themselves, provided the pumping speed was faster than the rainwater pouring in. Plan 2 was cave diving, letting divers go in to find the trapped people and bring them out. Plan 3 was finding a new entrance, searching for an entry from the top of the mountain, hoping for a direct path to the location of the trapped individuals. These 3 plans were carried out simultaneously. On May 24th, the first batch of divers entered the cave. The water was extremely murky. Headlamps shining into the water only revealed a blank white fog. They could only grope along the guide rope, inching forward through the mud. The passage was so narrow that it was almost impossible to turn around. When crawling to a section only 24 inches wide, they were forced to remove their oxygen tanks and push them forward, or tie them to a rope and drag them behind. They fumbled forward while searching. For 3 consecutive days, they found nothing. On May 27th, the 7th day since being trapped, Mikko and another diver navigated through a series of narrow underwater passages, and finally found the 5 people in a rock cavity that still had air. They were covered in mud and extremely weak, but all were still alive. The divers provided liquid food, oral rehydration salts, and thermal blankets for first aid, telling them to hold on. After settling them down, the divers returned the same way to relay the news outside. The people had been found, but how to get them out was the real challenge. The most ideal plan was to continue pumping water until the water level dropped low enough for the 5 to crawl out themselves. But it kept raining, and after every downpour, the section that had just been drained filled with water again. On May 29th, about 9 days since the initial entrapment, the rescue team decided not to wait any longer. They sent divers down to the trapped people's location, teaching them how to use diving equipment to bring them out one by one. What the rescue team feared most was not their inability to learn, but if the rescued individuals panicked underwater, ripped off their masks, or struggled in the narrow passages, there would be almost no chance to save them. A man named Mu-ai became the first to try. The divers helped him wear scuba gear, and then 2 divers, one in front and one behind, protected him as he dove into the water. Along the way, Mu-ai did not swim himself, but was essentially supported by the rescuers to get through. Crawling, climbing, and diving, the entire process took exactly 2 hours, and Mu-ai finally escaped the cave. In another development, the round-the-clock water pumping finally paid off. The water level dropped low enough that the remaining 4 people began crawling towards the cave entrance on their own. On May 30th, the rescue team was preparing to enter the cave again to bring the rest out. Just as they were putting on their rescue gear, 4 mud-covered men walked out of the cave entrance on their own. Families and volunteers who had been on standby for nearly 2 weeks were deeply moved. After the 5 people were rescued, the search focus shifted to the last 2 missing individuals. According to clues provided by the rescued individuals, in the 5th area where they were saved, there was an extremely narrow fissure that could lead to deeper caves. That was the only place that had never been surveyed. But that fissure was not only narrow, but also flooded with muddy water, making it too dangerous to cross. The rescue team placed their hopes on a new entrance at the top of the mountain. Very quickly, they found a vertical shaft about 197 feet deep. Australian diver Josh Richards climbed down the rope, but although there was an empty space below, going inside led to a dead end, forcing him to turn back. The heavy rain was incessant, coupled with the increasingly severe soil erosion inside the cave. Giant rocks began falling down. After more than 2 weeks of continuous searching, there was no safe entrance to reach the deeper section. On June 6, 2026, nearly 3 weeks since the entrapment, the search and rescue operation was officially suspended. Everything came to a close, but a question always lingered. Where exactly were the last 2 trapped people? The rescued people told the rescue team that their group actually only had 6 people. They did not know the 2 people rumored to be trapped as well, and speculated that it might be another group of gold miners who had entered the cave on their own a day or 2 earlier. After the search was suspended, Australian diver Josh speculated, perhaps 8 people really did go in initially, but someone managed to escape on their own just as the floodwaters rose. However, illegal mineral mining is a crime, so they would rather hide than step forward and admit they had been there. If Josh's hypothesis is correct, then the people the rescue team risked their lives searching for over many weeks might not have been in the cave at all. Thank you for following along.